So mind mapping is a technique that's being used as a form of creative brainstorming. And traditionally, one second.
It's for later.
It's you have to touch it.
Yeah, in your computer. No, that's her. It's for later.
Right, a second, wait.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back again. So the purpose of using this tool of mind mapping is really for you to get out of your head, and it's a new way of brainstorming. You know, it's using your whole brain, both the left side and the right side of your brain. On the left side, people, when you really think about how you generate ideas and words, you know, it's logic, it's numbers, it's list, all of those things are coming from the left side. The right side is really where your imagination, color, images, daydreaming, all of those things come about. And traditionally, when you are brainstorming, you typically tend to use much more one side of the brain than the other side. And the idea is to create a visual roadmap to be able to utilize.
I think you could want the house too.
Can you?
Like if you just turn it so that we're
Okay.
the hybrid.
Yeah. So, okay. So is that better?
Yeah, I was just setting up so you can, I'll sit over here. So you can-
Oh, okay. So that way I can look at both of you. It's sort of interesting, this hybrid method. So we're using the OWL, which is a new, just so those of you who are virtual, the OWL is a tool that's utilized so that when people are speaking, I can go back and forth and see them. As a presenter, just as an aside, it is a little, it's a little tricky because you're trying to figure out where you should be looking. And like, can you move the screen? See how the three of us are all like over the words?
That's your computer.
Okay, just one second. That's why it's great to have Malu here as the tech person. So move that.
You could even collapse it.
Oh, good. Okay, that's, God, I feel, now I'm come back. Okay, so it's a quick way to come up with different ideas, you know, to help problem solve. And I have found that it's definitely a much more efficient way to be able to communicate new ideas, because when we're looking for things, you'll have a group of people together and you'll come up with an idea, and it'll be the first idea, and then you've moved on and you'll start exploring that. And the whole idea is that a lot of times your first idea is not necessarily your best idea. And so there's many other things by using this tool of mind mapping, by visually presenting the ideas in a different way and shape, that allow you to explore many different things. So that you're not limited, because a lot of times you'll find you'll go down a path and then a month later, you're like, you know, wasn't there something else that we had talked about, but you don't really explore it because you've gone so far down that path the first time. It provides a better understanding of really how relationships work and different connections, and you're able to have a much more organized and much more structure in using this approach. Okay. Sorry about that. Why it's not.
Put on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't. It was working differently before. So, okay, be prepared. So it's really a very simplistic sort of tool that you need to be able to utilize. And it really depends on if you're doing it for yourself, or you're doing it for a company, if you're doing it virtually, in person. You know, in this case, I'm using it a little bit differently because as a webinar, it's already pre-presented. But typically when you use it, we'll use a whiteboard, or you'll get big sheets of paper and markers. And really depending on the group of people that you're working with is how creative you become with what your mind map looks like. And we'll go through and I will show you several different ones. And, you know, if you're going to do it technology. You can have an online whiteboard that you can add and people can share and things like that. The in-person ones are definitely, a little different, especially if you're doing them as a team and not just one person working on them. And I say it's really about, when you get ready to work on whether, this has been a tool that we've used in doing problem solving. And so what we usually suggest is that you've got, something that you're looking to work on and you want to be able to come up with multiple solutions. And in doing that, we say, create what that mindset should be. You're getting ready to start. And so by setting the framework for it, finding that if, I say there's 5 different things that you really look at before starting to do any sort of brainstorming. One is you've got to be curious. By changing your mind, having your mind to be curious, to be open-minded, you need to be willing to try something new, to look at the things that you've got going on and to help reframe them. So that if there is a problem that you're looking to solve in an organization, or, you've got a new business and you're looking to figure out how to launch that, it's a way of looking at it and saying, can you look at it in a different way than what you initially started to? And the other is being aware. It's really important to be aware of the process and what you're going through. And then the other thing is not to do this in a vacuum. You may start the first round of doing your mind mapping exercise alone, but collaboration is really key, and especially today, to be able to work with other people to get other ideas and things and to be able to share those. That's incredibly important. So start by focus, okay? Either have a topic or a problem you want to solve. Okay. So we're going to go through, and since we're not actually, I haven't done this in a way so that people are actually going to physically do the exercise, I'm going to take you through the basic steps and then I'll show you some examples. So usually start with a main theme, okay, and what that problem is or solution, that you're looking for. And it can be a word or a phrase. It could be, you're looking for a new office. You need to determine, what could that look like? What would a new office? So that could be your question. It could be office. Okay. And then from that, in less than a minute, you create up to 10 branches off of that main circle. Okay. And these can be free flowing, creative, but you're only to put one word in these branches. Okay. And then from there, after that minute's up, then you create your subcircles and all of the different branches and ideas that connect through those. And then you dive deeper and deeper and deeper from there. And you use, depending on, the personality of the people, it can be, and you'll see through some of these examples, they can be very structured lines and only one color and written, or they can be very colorful. And it's really utilizing your personality, your strengths, and also what really helps stimulate creativity. So, okay, I'm going to show you an example. Okay. And this first example is, what will retirement look like? Okay. So, and so you're going to create your 10 or so circles. And I would love if, okay, so create your circles. And then from here, in the minute, you're coming up with what your words could be. Location, okay? Important things to think about. Money, okay? Am I going to give back? Okay. Time frame. When am I going to do this? Other things, travel for, what will it look like? Do I want to travel? What kinds of activities would I like to do when I retire? What are the people that I want to spend with? Health, am I going to be in a place, where I am healthy and I can do that? Okay. And then after that first minute, does this make sense to everybody at this point?
Looks very, very, very good.
Okay. So after your first minute goes through and you put down your first, this is where you're putting down your first thoughts that come to mind. And there's no right or wrong to this. And then from there, you go back in and you look at each one of your initial circles. And so location, in this retirement, what are places that you might want to go? Here's Sedona, California, New Jersey, Maine. Okay. Money. What are you going to do with the money? Okay. What is money? Where are you going to get your money for your retirement? Inheritance? Do you have a house that you might want to sell? Will you be at the age where you're collecting Social Security? Do you want to have money to be able to give and support college funds for grandchildren? That is, if you have grandchildren down the road. Savings. Do you have a 401k? If you're giving back, okay, giving back is important to some people. What can that look like? And then from there, so you notice on the second tier, teaching, volunteering are things. Then from there, you go, you look at it, take a break for a little bit, and then you go back again and saying, okay, where would I want to teach? Do I want to teach college? You can dive even deeper to that. Volunteer, organizations like SCORE. Are there themes, topics that you would want to be able to give back? So time frame. What age do you want to retire? Have you pre-planned? Okay. And you can, you'll go through these. Travel is important. Domestic, states, international travel. What can that look like? Activities, cultural, nature, outdoors. Meditation is something that's important. Okay, people, who do you want to spend the time with when you retire? Family, friends. Who are those friends? Where are your friends located? Health, nutrition, money, exercise, insurance, places, work. Will you still work? What are the kinds of things that you might want to do in that next phase of your career or business? A vintage clothing business, marketing, creative, freedom, what will it give? Okay, so once you go through this, okay, and you look at all of these things, you'll start to find that there may be some commonalities to things and things that you want to explore further. You may even look at saying that where your friends are located, maybe places that you may want to visit or you may want to move. Are there other things in here? Travel. Are there things that you might be able to do from, your business or new working environment that require travel? Okay.
I love this. I'm totally like implementing right away. I love it.
Okay, so let's get to the next one.
Is this your mind map?
What?
Is this your mind map?
Yeah, okay. So this is another one example to teach, finding your voice, okay? So you do your 10. Up to 10. Now this one didn't have 10. This was experience. I'm going to fill these in so that you can sort of, the different kinds of things, if you're looking to teach, where do you want to teach? What kind of experience do you have? Whoops. Okay. Community. Why would you want to teach? It gives you a sense of community. It gives you freedom. Okay. What size? If you're going to teach, do you want to teach corporate, groups, workshops, individuals, schools, topics? What kinds of things do you have expertise in? What comes to mind? Creativity, design, branding, balance, business. Where? Somebody's name is there. This is a person who has a travel business where they might have lectures that you could travel in person. Different kinds of places, inns, resorts, things, education, what's the topics and things. So, and you'll go back around and think like, okay, You know, how do these things also relate to the person, if it's the same person who's doing the retirement? You know, does this give you some of those things? And you look, and you see which ones you may want to explore further. So you're not limiting yourself to just one area or place. Okay, so I thought this one would be good for everybody to do. And I don't know whether you've got it.
Paper.
Yeah, do those of you online have a piece of
Felicia?
paper
Felicia is right here on the table.
in front of you? Okay, so if you have a piece of paper,
I'll use this.
okay. I thought this would be a sort of simple one to do, okay? You're looking to get a new car, okay? So I'm gonna give you a minute, okay, to do your spokes, okay? Ready, set, go. And all the things and main just one words of what it is that you think about you're gonna need to know when you buy a car. Thirty seconds. Okay. Good. Okay. So I'm gonna just put one in type of car. Anybody else? Can people talk at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody can talk. So let's hear what people put. Go ahead.
Mileage.
Mileage, okay. So mileage. You want to know what kind of mileage, you want a car that has good mileage.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so that's one, okay.
I put cost.
Cost, okay. So it's important to know whether you want a luxury car, whatever the different price
Right,
points.
yeah.
So cost, then the next things from there can go luxury, could be compact, you know, different kinds of things from there. What do you have,
I
Felicia?
put trunk storage.
Trunk storage, that's important.
Engineer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It is
storage,
important.
right, storage is important, okay? And online,
And Marianne is saying color, brand, new or used.
okay, color, okay, brands. So then you, from the brands, then you put all the different brand names that you like. Right, the interiors, the features. So sometimes, you know, seats, you know, some people want 4 seats, some people want bucket seats, some people, you know, the different features, the usage, how are you going to use the car, okay? I'm not great on this track. Sometimes it's not. Ah, here it goes. Okay. So when you talk about color, you want to know the interior color, the exterior color, the rim color, right? Seats, leather seats, heated seats, reclining seats, whoops, fabric. Okay. So does that help?
Yeah, I'm surprised how long a minute, did you give us a minute
It was, I was back and forth. It may have been a
or
little,
30 seconds? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of time to mind that. I mean, like you can get a lot done in a
Yeah.
minute.
no,
Mhm.
it's, so, you know, these, I'm showing some examples of what people do. You know, really creative people, you know, go all out, you know, and, you know, create their different branches and subtexts, you know, how to focus in the age of distraction, you know, the things are, you know, taking time, you know, time is a big one. help for people who are addicted, take a digital technology detox, managing your space, how to work, creating rituals and habits. And then from there, they go on, what those look like, bee skills, think of all the different things that, that bees do. And this one was kind of fun. This was a person who was in science, so there's many different ways, and when we were planning a trade show, it was a very, very corporate group of people that were working on this. And it was just very linear, like boom, boom, boom. As much as we tried to get everybody to be a little bit more creative in the group, the person who was organizing the actual mind mapping was very, very structured in that. But it was plan, they're, planning and execution, but it did the job. And as a team, everybody got an ability to have an input, and you got to see everything all in one place, which really helped. And it was good to be able to go back through and look at things and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that if we had both, for the pre-show checklist, was also something that, we hadn't thought about when it came to shipping. And being able to see it all in one place, it really helps you to summarize and to be able to look at things in a different way, shape, and form. And as in anything, it's a muscle memory. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. And I find that when we do these and utilize it for someone on a one-on-one basis, there's a lot of probing and a lot of questioning that goes into helping them to think through different steps and look at different strategies and things that you may not have necessarily thought. And it's a tool that's used in many different ways and shapes. It can be used as a team of people coming up, in a company to be able to solve a problem, or to just look at something in a different way. You're launching a new collection of something and you want to try to think of a different way to launch it. So it really helps different team members to be able to have, a way to participate and make everybody feel like they have value to something. So, yeah. So that's sort of like in a nutshell, sort of like 101 of brainstorming. So does anyone have questions at this point?
I'm pretty much one, solo thing. So can I mind map myself? Would that be limiting, you think, or should I really try to?
I think you could start something yourself, but I think it's really good to have feedback from somebody else.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's
More
really,
than area.
yeah, it definitely helps you engage and looks at things in a different way. But I think that a lot of times it can help you look at what your initial problem could be, or the thing that you would like to look at and explore further, and to have some initial sort of thoughts, so that when you get ready to do it with somebody else, you've given some sort of shape in reference to yourself. And I find that if you do it with someone else, prepare them in advance, in the sense that you send them what the question is or what you're thinking about, so that they can have some thoughts on their own and probing. But it's one of those things that the more you're open, the more that you listen, and to look at things differently. I think that's the big thing is really, I think for the biggest change that I saw was the first idea syndrome. Because many times, you'll be in a group of people and somebody say, oh my God, that's great. We got the aha idea. And all of a sudden we've gone and we haven't really explored anything else. And there may have been many other solutions that could have been better, but you've gone and started running right away with the aha moment. And this allows you to give a little bit of validation to it too, and to look at it and explore those things a little bit more so. So you may take the first idea that it was the aha, mind map that, and then use the second and third ideas and do those. And you may find a correlation between all of them and come up with something completely different. It allows a check and balance, I think.
So do you have, for you, because you have building your brand, so do you have an example of something like that you've done for building your brand?
Sure. I don't have an example as a power
Right.
in the PowerPoint,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really looking at you know, in building the brand, like the first sort of thing that somebody, you know, may suggest is, you know, target audience. Who's your target audience? So, you know, where do you want to take your brand? So you come up with whatever that phrase, whatever the first thing is about, because it's so big about building a brand. You need to come up with a particular area or something that you want to look into. You know, how should you market yourself, right? So maybe that's it. And then you look at, but you know, you can do that and say, what's your budget? You know, the first things that come to mind, okay, would be budget, target audience, competitors, time frame, new products, you know, PR, marketing. That would be the first thing. And then from there, you would delve out what each of those would be. And, you know, if you've got, you know, a limited budget, then, you know, budget, you know, from the budget part, it would be, you know, PR, self-promotion, opportunities, speaking, boom. Then, you know, you'd go through each one of these and you'd break it down. You know, and it could be, you know, like, who's your target audience? You know, if you are, so why don't you just tell me in a nutshell what your business is?
It's a blog that I write about walking around Stanford.
Okay,
And I'm hoping to get enough followers so that I can go up to the stores and say, hey, if I write about your store and I walk, I will.
so you want to get advertising, okay. So you've got a blog. So you've got a blog on walking. Okay. So who's your target audience? So the first thing is your target audience would be retailers, Stanford businesses, Chamber of Commerce, blah, 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 blah. That's part of your target audience, right? And then the thing would be, you know, what's your unique value proposition? You know, what do you have to offer that is so unique, different than what's in the marketplace that somebody's going to want to know what that is, you know,
Yeah.
so that
Right.
those concepts, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So then it's looking at how, you know, what are the different ways that you can, you know, market your business so that people can know about you. And, you know, the different kinds of steps and how much, you know, how much money do you have and do you have a budget and all those kinds of things. And so it's Marianne, right? So do you have something that you have a question on or that you'd like?
You know, I sort of, it really makes sense. It really helps to clarify the process in my brain because it always feels so overwhelming. And I'm just sort of in the beginning stages of, I teach yoga, meditation, and a lot of my students come to me and ask me for more than that, like health, wellness. So I've been wanting to do a little bit more, but have sort of not done it anymore because, well, I haven't really had the time. But now I'm thinking I could do more. And so this really helps me sort of like clarify what it is that I really want to, who I want to focus on. I know who I want to focus on, but then figure out all the little things, you know, from outside of the yoga and meditation. Do I want to teach cooking classes? Do I want to, you know, teach just, I don't know. I haven't been able to put it all down, but this really helps me so I can think about it a little bit more clearly. And then from there sort of, and marketing is not my, that is not my forte. So I'm not good about telling people about stuff that I do. I'm very, I don't know, people who know me know that I do this and then they tell their friends. That's kind of how it goes. And it's good, but I'm not good about
The WOM factor,
what's that?
the word of mouth factor.
Yeah.
WOM is called, it's an old marketing term called word of mouth. You know, and, you know, a lot of times you'll go through and you'll ask people, you know, we do huge marketing campaigns and PR and advertising for clients. And you'll go to somebody who is, you know, what I would consider as yourself a solopreneur, you know, And you'll ask, and they've spent this money and done different things. And I said, well, what are your best clients? And, really, who has been your best clients? And they all say, well, I've had this client for 30 years and now I do her daughter and her 3 friends have come to see the house and and they've all spread and branched out from that initial person. So, that referral source is very, very strong, and realizing like, oh my gosh, I can grow my business by just marketing to my existing client base for my particular niche, in a particular niche. You have a product and you need to sell 5 million of them. Well, honey, that's not going to happen by just your friends. But that's what social media does, is they allow, for you to have 1 million friends without really having 1 million friends. It's a different way. And the other thing I do say to people too is, you have to think of this is just like doing the dishes. Okay. You got to start with one. And just put one there and wash it, and then you get the next one. And before you know it, the dishes are all done and you've accomplished something. Yeah, it's just taking little bits off, and just to try, and then share with other people. I think they, when you asked, collaboration and sharing is really key. It is. It's a good way to test ideas.
I was just searching, it looks like there's, if you type in mind mapping templates or whatever, like, I don't know if it's worth starting one from, because I was looking when I just typed in mind mapping template for marketing.
Right.
And it has like everything in there. So you could like start with that and then dive deeper maybe.
So I found when we looked at those, before I started giving the class and whatnot, it already puts you in a frame of mind. It doesn't allow you to be free first. So we suggest you do your own first and then look at it.
Right.
Because you're already jaded. You already
Yeah.
become jaded by a corporate or by a component to it, but if you're if you're a person who can't get yourself organized, I don't mean it in a negative way,
Right,
but if you have no way of getting yourself framed or referenced at all, it can help. But we found that it puts you into a blocked sort of thing. The whole idea of using it primarily is to be much more creative and to look at different ways of doing things. So yeah, there's many different, and it's become one of these more corporate sort of buzzwords. And over the last probably 4 years since I've been using it, it's definitely, there's ways to do it online, and there's ways to do it with the webinars and all kinds of techniques and stuff.
Cool.
So good.
This is great.
Yes. Anything else?
Really good.
Cool.
And thank you, Marianne, for bearing with us with our technical, trying to figure this out. I think actually this works pretty well. Like, do you feel like you're in a room with us a little bit? Or,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
from
I
the
like it.
outside.
I think I've done so many Zooms for all different stuff. This is different. And so this is all new, like having all the screens.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I can see you and I can see Beth and I can see then the whole room.
You can see, if you can show, we have this thing here.
It's called an owl.
Yeah, it's an owl, and it turns, Melissa can show it. Is it?
No.
You turn, you can't see it because it's attached.
I can
Yeah.
see it on the
It's-
corner of
it's,
the screen.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Oh, see,
It's
it's like,
attached.
it never wants to see itself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
no.
But it turns around and
It's
it
pretty
shows
cool.
each person who's speaking. Yeah.
Good.
Huh.
Thank you.
Anyway, but, and
Thanks
where-
for
are you
sharing.
local here, Marianne? Are you?
I do. I live in
where are you
Darien.
located?
Yeah, I live in Darien.
Oh, okay.
I'm echoing. I can hear myself. So I've actually been in HAYVN a couple of times. I'm friends with Nancy Sheed, so I know her. She's
Right, okay, you look familiar.
yeah. So I'm local, and when I saw this pop up and I get your emails, it's like the perfect time of year to kind of like to reorganize, to think about how you want. It's just a great time. So it was really I was interested, and it sounded so attractive to me. So this has been great. It definitely helps me think like with a little more logic and clarity, because I can be I can sort of put a lot of things on my plate at once and then I don't ever actually accomplish anything. I mean, I'm accomplishing a lot of stuff, but this really will help me move forward.
Move the needle.
Mhm.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you,
thank
Beth.
you.
That's